What's going on, Junkie Nation? Gorgeous George and Goes are back with another superstar from the sport of mixed martial arts. Today we get to talk to the baddest motherfucker. That's right, Jorge Masvidal. They call him Game Bread. Guy can fight. Now he's also the promoter. He wears many hats. What's up, Game Bread? How are you?
I worn all the hats in this fighting stuff. From coaching guys to amateurs to world championships to freaking holding pads to freaking being a sparring dummy to being a freaking fighter myself, not promoting and trying to get these guys a nice buck in their pocket, while making myself some change and without having to step in the ring. So I'm very proud that I've been in the sport professionally competing 20 years now, and this is not some 300-0 fictitious record. This is online. People could see it. I've been a pro since 18. I'm 38 now. I might not act it, but I am 38, and the ball keeps rolling, man. I love it. You guys have been part of this journey with me from a while, since like my Strike Force days. So I love it, man. It's all like full circle and shit,
Yeah. Now, apart from fighting, I know that's number one. That's your true passion. What's your next favorite thing to do? Is promoting number two, or is there something else?
Uh, Promoting is definitely up there for me. I find it fun that I could just, get with my partner and start having these thoughts like, yeah, who would be a fight, and usually how I start like, who would you pay 55, 95 to see? Okay, let's see. We start like making the card, and that's definitely something fun, and then promoting the card, and then getting the card done, and then it goes from my thoughts to actually like fruition, and it becomes true. And that's one of my like favorite things to do. But that's all in like on the business. Also on the personal, I like to do it. Man, I like to surf. I like to ski. I don't want to be in the office always or have a phone attached to me always. So I much rather enjoy like nature if I have the opportunity to.
Yeah. Who came up with Jones and Pettis? You, your partner, someone else?
Me and Dean Tool. Mainly Dean Tool on that one, because he's the one that has the direct connection to Roy Jones Jr. and he's known him for quite some time. He's worked with him on several things. He used to manage his promotion, Roy Jones Jr. Boxing and numerous things. So Dean is like very connected individual. And he had Roy Jones. He's the one that brought Roy Jones to the table. I was like, you can't get Roy. We talking about the same Roy Jones Jr. He's like, yeah, the fucking Roy Jones Jr. I was like, not a chance. He's like, man, he's actually been training for like 2 years and he wants to come back and he's been talking to me a lot. I think we might be able to pull it off. So originally we were looking at possibly Donald Cerrone versus Roy Jones, and that was very, very close, a lot closer than people know. And hats off to Cabo. He got like a huge project lined up, so he couldn't think the fight was going to mess with his timing and stuff. So hats off to him. He's got some big things in the work there. And during this time, we thought that Pettis wasn't able to compete, that he was going to do the season for PFL and all this stuff, but we were able to talk to PFL, and long and behold, we got permission. And now we got Roy Jones Jr. fighting Anthony Pettis, and then after that, it just like it's a snowball effect. Because now I'm telling everybody, hey, this is the main event. Like everybody wants to come fight for us, Jose Aldo was also something very interesting. How that came about. Dean Tool, Ali, shout out to Ali and his team for setting that one up. We were able to get that one. As far as Barner Sports as well helped out a lot. They got us Vito Bell for Jeremy Stevens. We like I talked to all the managers, all the agents. So it's not like a hard thing, especially where I was at before it was a little bit difficult sometimes talking to certain managers and stuff, but now I'm like a free agent and I do business with everybody. As long as you do good business, I want to do good business with you. So one thing led to another. Now Jacare is fighting freaking Vitor Belfort, Jose Aldo versus Jeremy Stevens. Like, man, we got a serious card. We got a serious bangers, man. One after another, Not to mention we got Pearl Gonzalez fighting a top-ranked 6th girl in the world in boxing. We got Dylan Klecker that's a freaking knockout machine, man. I'm just pumped from this card. We got this kid from Michigan, Feliciano. He's 16-0, man. I really think this guy's freaking amazing. He has like over 90 amateur bouts as well. This kid is gonna be like he's gonna be headlining cards. I hope rather soon, within a year to two. So it's really freaking great time right now to be in boxing and fighting combat sports.
Is Paul Daly on the card still?
No.
Oh, okay.
Paul Daly is not on the card, and that's because we had visa issues with the timing and stuff. Paul Daly can have a visa to come here, but every time you're working for a new company like XYZ company, now he's gonna fight for a different company, you have to get him a visa. So we weren't able to quite figure that out, but that's somebody that we're very, very interested in, and then we're gonna push hard to have in our cards. And I mean, I've always liked Daily Style. He comes to fight. I actually got to compete against him myself, so it'd be
Shark
fucking,
fights. I
it'd be
remember.
fucking amazing. Yeah, shark fights. It'd be fucking amazing to get Daily on the card.
All right, so this is a sick card, man. There's no way around it, folks. It takes place on the 1st in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Tickets are available at Ticketmaster. If you follow Gamebred in any form or fashion, you can see all the links to his event. But going to Ticketmaster, I guess, probably the easiest because that's where you'll wind up. Just look for Jorge Masvidal's Gamebred Boxing 4, Saturday, April 1st. And
On
I
pay-per-view.
he's already sold out.
Live on pay-per-view. You can buy the digital rights to it on UFC Fight Pass, which is something very historic for me. The UFC's only teamed up with a boxing promotion one other time. That was Mayweather versus McGregor, where they sold the pay-per-view on UFC Fight Pass. We were doing the same exact thing, so you could buy your digital rights to the freaking pay-per-view on UFC Fight Pass. That's like monumental right there when we got that set in stone, and then shout out to Dane and Hunter for letting all these guys come over and box and still make money. Some of them are under contract, so it was by the graces literally of the UFC, because if the UFC doesn't let these guys compete, there's no competing, So it was a lot of little hurdles that we had to jump. And this card is in the making for about like 3 to 4 months. We've been working on this card to set it off. So once everything was in play, it's been a hell of a roller coaster. But man, I'm every day I'm more eager about this event.
All right, Goes, jump in. What you got?
Jorge, so Roy Jones Jr. is a massive name. And anybody that knows boxing, this is one of the greatest boxers that ever lived. Was he the first name? Are there any other names that were in consideration?
No, we had a couple names, but once we had Roy Jones is like, hey, I'm in. I want to fight any of these MMA guys, which he's always wanted to fight MMA guys and stuff like that. It was like that. That's our freaking horse in the race. We're gonna run with Roy Jones now. We're gonna match him up, and just as we said he did, once we get Roy Jones matched up with somebody that's another A-side competitor, another MMA standout, the rest of the card will fill out, and that's just what exactly happened.
Hey, be honest with us. Is part of you a little jealous that Anthony Pettis gets to go off against a guy like Roy Jones Jr.? Would you have wanted to be one of those guys? Is there like a particular boxer or somebody that you would want to go head to head with one day?
That definitely several boxers I would like to go head to head with. Roy Jones isn't one of them, man. I like freaking love this dude. He's from Florida. I grew up watching him. Like I wouldn't. I'm not envious of Pettis on this particular run. And I just think the highest praise of Roy Jones as a person, as a competitor. But there's many dudes I would love to box. And the way I would do it is I would start myself not with like a current world champion or the highest ranked guy, get myself, and I would take the craft seriously. And I'm not just trying to get a paycheck. I would just, work my way into these better fights, 7-8 boxing fights later. And then I'd call out some bigger names, some tougher opponents, But first I would just like to get my feet wet and just bam, just box guys that are good, that are sound, and have a good standing record, but not the best of the best, because I'm not a boxer, So sending these guys to come fight with me, I'm gonna fucking slam them on their head if all you've done is boxing your whole life. So I would just take my time a little slow. Right now, there's nobody that I could really think of to call out, but but they already bursted that bubble just because I always thought it'd be a great fight for me, and I can knock them out and make a lot of easy money while doing it. Would have been Jake Paul, but that ship has sailed now that he has that. Maybe he comes back and gets a couple wins and stuff. But that's probably like the only dude, just because he's easy money, and I don't think I was gonna generate a huge pay-per-view sell with him, because he doesn't bring those type of pay-per-views. But me being involved in boxing, who knows? Maybe I could have done well for myself and gotten some good pay-per-views.
Well, I'm pretty sure you would have been the A side if you boxed Jake Paul. The pay-per-views would have recited on your popularity, not necessarily his.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't sell, I don't know what the Tyson Fury numbers are. I don't know if you guys know, but when he's fighting Woodley, when he's fighting Ben Askren, like he hasn't hit those marks that he thinks, or his people think that he's gonna hit. So he's not the draw. Definitely he'd be like the C side. I'm like the A+ side. If we're talking about selling pay-per-views, if you're talking about who was on Disney Channel more, hands down, that dude beats me,
Yeah. All right. We can always count on Jorge for these one-liners. All right. We'll get back to boxing in just a second. Maybe this is a quick way to pivot. Leon Edwards just defended his belt against Kamaru Usman. And they've already presented Colby Covington as an opponent for him. Bilal Muhammad, has an 8-fight win streak, so he's saying, "Hey, what about me?" Leon Edwards, though, is uttering your name, and again, a lot of it is the business side. That, and you guys do have heat. I rewatched it. Looked more like a 5-piece in a soda than a 3-piece in a soda, but 3-piece is pretty funny. So anyway, as the fight happened and unfolded the way it did, tell me what Jorge Masvidal was feeling. I know you were probably bobbing and weaving watching these guys. What were you all amped up to hear, and what are you thinking, especially with your big fight coming up?
First and foremost, just focus on Gilbert. He has 2 hands, 2 feet, and he can be dangerous at times. So I definitely want to dismantle this guy and make a very good showing for myself. Use Gilbert's face to propel myself to that title shot. Also being that me and Leon have the history. Also being that I've never missed weight. I've never had a drug failure. I've as far as like steroids and things like that go. All these things that I've been doing right in my career, plus the level of caliber of opponents that I face. And I'm one of the biggest pay-per-view draws that is active, and it's fighting top name guys left and right. Now that Jones is back, he's another guy to add that mix. But when John Jones was sitting out, it's basically Connor, me, and John that are pushing those numbers, and John was out for a minute. So for a while, it's been me breaking these records and stuff, and I'm eager to get in there with Gilbert and like utterly dismantle him to the point that everybody's begging for me to go and fight Leon. And I know Leon's not an idiot. He knows he's already fought before and defended the title and stuff. So he knows what a guy like me brings to the table, besides the added beef that we have and the amount of pay-per-views that we can generate together fighting for that title. I think it's epic. It's a movie ending for me and everybody involved with me, And then after that, go and challenge these other wrestlers and beat the fucking brakes off them.
So the way I hear it, Burns on April 8th, that is priority number 1. You got to compete against this cat. And after that, however the chips may fall. So does that almost sound like let either Colby and Leon fight or Bilal and Leon fight? You'll just get the winner and
no,
down the road, or
no.
Okay.
No. I'm fighting Gilbert.
Yeah.
And I'm fighting Leon. And it's just I'm telling you that's gonna play out.
Okay.
I just got some, insider information.
How excited are you about fighting in Miami and it not being on a dock or in a backyard?
Great question, brother. For a very long time, part of my career, for the longer part, the road has always been my home. So I just feel very comfortable getting the call and saying, hey, the fight is in South Korea or Abu Dhabi or Costa Rica or Russia or Japan. And all these places I've named, I've fought in. These are not like fantasy things. I've fought in all these places. And I've just accustomed myself to catching that plane, getting in a hotel, and making that my home for the day. So now me fighting at home is a little bit, like flipping my world a little bit. But this is where it all started for me. So, why not bring it back for all my fans that are from this city, from just everybody in general, from this culture, this Latin culture, this immigrant culture, from numerous Jamaica, Haiti, everybody that's out here in Miami doing their thing that enjoys combat. Why not bring it to my city? And then 20 years ago, the UFC was here, and I remember I was like 17, about to turn a pro, already training all day long, just aspiring to be a pro. And I go to this show, and after the nostalgia and everything of like seeing all these competitors and fighters live and watching it, I remember looking over to my homie and telling him, like, man, I'm gonna bring this show one day back here. It took me 20 years, but we're back in this bitch. So I feel like, man, there is pressure in many aspects, but at the same time, this is where it all started. Like, I just gotta flow. I just gotta be natural, not worry about nothing. Just go out there and do what got me here, which is just compete and have fun and explode on these guys.
So you were at the actual UFC event in Miami?
Yeah, I was actually.
Oh, wow.
I was 17, about to turn 18 years old, and it was a freaking great time. I think Sean Shirk fought Matt Hughes, Rich Franklin fought rest in peace Evan Tanner. Pete Spratt fought Robbie Lawler. Like, I'm a fucking
that was a good one.
Yeah, I'm a fucking geek, so I was there just like soaking up, like, wow, this is fucking nuts, And there was numerous other fights in the card that was good that night too. And the
Yeah.
event was like pretty damn empty, you know, because it's Miami. There's a million things to do here. So the UFC hasn't wanted to come here until they got me on the card, and it was gonna take a little bit to get me on the card. Things had to be right, you know, on all sides, and compensation side, on this, on that, you know. So I'm fucking pumped, man.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. As soon as we heard they were going there, we knew you had to be on the card, definitely. What sucks though is the timing. I mean, I know what you're gonna say. Hey, I can handle it. And I'm looking, man. Your eyes are white; they're not red, so it looks like you're getting your sleep. Your skin looks good. You're not stuttering over your words or anything. So you just got off a plane, so I know you can handle it all, right? But at the same time, the timing of it all, like which I imagine you knew about boxing before MMA. You just couldn't turn down MMA, even though they're a few days apart, a week apart.
Yeah. As that was coming along, you know, a pay-per-view date that was available was April 1st, and the way I saw it is like, it's fighting, right? I'm gonna be just promoting fighting. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna be watching videos of guys I want to put in the card or not, things like that. It's all fighting related. And yeah, I've done a little extra things like having to speak to arenas or getting on the phone with a sponsor or Ticketmaster, things like that. You know, things that I always generally don't do. That there may be like managers and stuff like that would be doing for me, but I don't have a manager right now. I've been handling it all myself. I'm not with FOM no longer, so I just I was like, man, I could do this. You know, I know how to speak for myself, and why not speak for my event, for the fighters on my event, and just do it right. You know, obviously it's more added stress because, you know, it's just more stress, but it's all fighting. You know, all I do is train all day long, and then either I'm working on the promotion, or I'm working on interviews, or I'm training again, spending time with my kids, and that's it. That's all I do. So I feel like there's definitely more numbers to crunch, but it's nothing that's like stopping me from sleeping or anything like that. I'm very, very happy with my current contract. I worked out a nice little thing for myself where I could just get to work now. You know, I'm injury free. A lot of the things that stopped me from coming earlier, had a couple injuries. I got, you know, some allegedly this, allegedly that outside of the ring that I had to like wait and settle for. I got some lawsuits, you know, and just in all of it, I had a lot of like turmoil, you know. And I was like, let me just change things up in my life, and just try to move in a different direction on many facets, and let me see if I could just come out of the swamp that I'm in, you know. And it wasn't an overnight thing. It was night after night after night of building new habits, doing things differently. And I'm not 24 no more, you know. I know I act like it and all that, but you know, I've been changing up little by little, man. And I feel that right now, mentally, all the things that I started doing about 6 months ago are coming into fruition right now. And as I get closer to the fight, everything, all the little hard work that I put in, all the new habits that I picked up, and all the old habits that I dropped, have been showing up in practice. I've been showing up when I go to track and field. I've been showing up when I jump into the pool. When I weight lift, it's like little by little, day by day. And I'm just thankful that right now, mentally, I'm in the best space I've been possibly in my whole career. Just because maybe 6 months ago, I was like in the darkest place I'd been in my whole career, like the worst me, the worst version of myself mentally, you know. And obviously that breaks down your physical. And I wasn't in a great place after like the second Usman fight, and the way that things went down and stuff with the UFC, and the timing of it. And then, hey, you're gonna coach the Ultimate Fighter with Usman. You're gonna fight in September, October, and no, we're fighting in April, you know. And I had just gone through some medical procedures, so I was like, damn, man. I told myself after the first fight I won't take a short notice fight again, ever again, for the title. And here I am again. I did it. And I get knocked the fuck out for the first time in my career to a guy that I fought for 5 rounds, and I felt his power in those 5 rounds after cutting 20 pounds of water, going our way to Abu Dhabi. And I'm like, this guy can never hurt me. Like, I never would have thought that'd be the guy to knock me out in my prestigious career. You guys have seen me since Bodog days. Like, I fought in some animals with striking, you know, guys that like really could hold their own in striking, speed, agility, power. I never put Usman in that category, you know, because after I fought him for 5 rounds, I was like, this dude, he's not the guy to get me in ever, you know. And lo and behold, surprise, surprise, I get knocked out for the first time in my life. And that like turns into a fucking tornado spiraling out of control and downwards. And it took a lot, you know, to get out of there. And also God shining the light, letting me know, man, I came from a much, much worse place
Yeah.
where I was at when I started this. Like, what the fuck am I complaining about? You guys are just commenting on my ceiling. I have a fucking wooden ceiling, you know. I have a real chimney behind me. I have water. I got food in my fridge when I open it. I have a vehicle I could use. My family's in good health. I'm able to provide for my family and never before. Like, man, what the fuck is wrong with me, man? I'm being a fucking bitch, bro. And as I started to like formulate that plan, I said, well, I'm not just gonna come back and keep doing what I used to do. Shit has to change, and it has to be overnight. And then I gotta attack those things that have changed and really try to stick to them, you know, and see what this new formula, new game plan, new blueprint that I have going forward, how it works out. And the greatest thing about fighting, the best thing about fighting is that you quickly get to find out if all these mathematical probabilities I've been working on when on April 8th. You know, that's the greatest thing about fighting, man. We're gonna find out the truth right away.
Did what you went through in 2018 when you went to the reality show Exoton, and then you went with us to the military base, which you said also was very therapeutic for you? What did going? Did you have to like rewind to those days, knowing that you had gone through a similar funk, came out of it a beast, you know? And is that help? Did that help 6 months ago or whenever it was that you said you were in a dark place?
Um, Shout out to the board of Jordan Tourism that actually took me to a very special place. I got to go to the Jordan River where Jesus himself was baptized, and he took me to many historical sites. So shout out to Jordan because I got to go to this place, and it's somewhere that I always wanted to go. But at my lowest point, I was like, this is where I need to go. This is like something was just calling me over there. And then all of a sudden, I was able to get that done. Shout out to my boy Muhammad as well. They was able to set up the trip. And that really helped break that funk down, break some walls and barriers down, and then after that, the game plan. You know, like what am I gonna do now? Now that I know that this is wrong, what's right? And then I started formulating that, and like you said, you know, I've been in other funks before. I've been in way worse when I was 13, 14 years old. I had, you know, not that many options available. I didn't really always see the light. I knew that this was my way out, this was my light, but it wasn't always so visible, you know. And I'm like, man, as far as I've come, and now I'm just being a bitch, like, straight up, like, what the fuck's wrong with me? So little by little, so getting rid of that bad shit, dog.
All right, so right now with Gilbert Burns in front of you, and with the boxing going full steam, if this were the Jorge Masvidal book, what would the chapter of this particular section be? What would the name of the chapter be?
This chapter would be Gilbert the Stepping Stone Burns, and then to fight. It's no diss to Gilbert and stuff because I think he's a good competitor. He comes to fight, you know, and things like that for the most part. But we've never been on the same skill set, you know. And then as far as like game mix goes, as far as like toughness and durability and, you know, that sturdiness, he's never had it either. He gets cracked and he starts skating, you know. So I know he's good in the jiu-jitsu world, but his wrestling ain't that, you know. And I've only been focusing these last 6 months on making sure that I could deal with these wrestlers efficiently, get to positions efficiently, not waste as much energy. So I'm gonna tell you that I'm gonna paint my Van Gogh on Gilbert's face, man, with elbows, knees, kicks, takedown defense, takedown offense, all that good stuff. I'm gonna bring it in and just like when I started my career, just go out there and fight and have fun. It's not a game because there's a lot at risk, but at the same time, this is my pickup basketball game. This is my soccer game. This is my baseball game. This is what I enjoy doing. So don't need to do anything more than that, and just go out there and do it. Put all the hard work of these last like 14 weeks of being solely dedicated to a task of just becoming a better athlete, getting better in shape, and then forget about all that. And on fight, they just know I did everything to prepare me for the situation. Now go out there and do it. Give everything I got to see what I'm really made out of, you know.
You know, somebody had some real high praise for you, man. Joe Rogan, talking about your place kind of in history and how you would have done against other fighters of in your weight class. Georges St-Pierre, one of them. What did you think of Joe Rogan's thoughts on you being able to take GSP, which means you're ahead of a lot of other people What did that feel like, man? That seems like really, really high praise.
I think, you know, a lot. Well, one, Joe's been watching the sport freaking forever, man, and he truly is like an encyclopedia. I sit down and I was just with Joe today. I just got back from Texas, and we're like talking boxing, and it's like there's not a name that I throw out that this guy doesn't know and hasn't digested 20 fights of this individual. And I'm throwing like we're just talking boxing for a minute, and it's like every fight, every fighter that I brought up, he's like, yeah, I remember and so and so, and he took him out in the 7th round. He's just an encyclopedia of wealth for the sport. So for him to consider me one of the better fighters I've ever lived is fuck, man, that's a real life notch right there, bro, for me, man. Because that guy, you know, I consider him a true connoisseur of the sport, you know, and he calls it the way he is and stuff in fights. I don't think he's a biased dude, man. You know, so I really enjoy his commentary as well. So I just feel like, man, that's fucking awesome that he would put me up there like that. And me personally, you know, the wrestlers have always given me a lot of trouble and stuff, but it's certain types of wrestlers, the ones that negate like the action by just like always stalling and crotch sniffing and stuff. So at the same time, I feel like I could do well with any of these guys if they don't get their hands wrapped around me, and even if they did, if I'm able to slip away in time, you know. But I would like anybody in my sport, I want to fight only the fucking best, you know. But I'm not worried about GSP right now because he don't fight, so it's just hearsay. You know, I'm worried about every guy that's currently active that's in the top 5. Those are the guys that I'm worried about, and I want to fucking hurt them, man. Especially the wrestlers.
At the end of the day, with all the ups and downs, are you happy? I mean, you've accomplished a lot. We started
No,
the interview talking about Strike Force days, Bulldog League. Like, this has been a long time, a lot of mean competitors in front of you. At the end of the day, are you happy?
no, not at all. Like if you know, and in the part of it, I am happy. You know, when that time comes that I've said it before, and you guys have shown numerous shows. When that time comes that I'm at American Top Team, I can't, you know, keep up with the pack, hold my own, and it's constant sessions where I'm just getting the shorter end of the stick as I'm going with these up and coming killers and established fighters and things of that nature. Then I know it's time to hang up the gloves. I don't need to go into a ring to know that, you know, I don't have it anymore, you know. But as long as I still have that going for me, it's like I'm not happy, man, at all. I'm not one bit happy, you know, because I'm in there with monsters every day, and I'm holding my own. I'm doing good, you know. There's a lot of guys over there that they can tell you, like, man, he's in the best fucking shape, period, you know. We're talking about current Bellator world champion Johnny Eblen, and we've been putting in a lot of work together, like always, you know, and
He's a
I
beast.
feel he's a fucking beast, man. I think he's the best 185er in the world right now, currently. I truly believe that I was been giving him a lot of praise, even way before he fought Musasi, and then when he fought Musasi, which I really love this guy. He's a fucking pioneer of the sport, a true badass, full of class, will fight anybody, any style. And I was just saying, like, man, this is gonna be his coming out party because Johnny right now is on another level. I put in a lot of work with that fight for Johnny, and I just knew, like, bro, right now you're at another level, you know, in his last fight as well, you know. So I could honestly say he's the best middleweight in the world in my eyes, you know. He could wrestle, he could strike, he could do a lot of things, and then he has a third lung for real, you know. So I really feel that the work I put in an American Top Team on the constant is what lets me know, like, hey, can I hang at this level or not, you know? Do I still have it? Because the day that I like I said, I'm getting the short end of the stick inconsistently, then it's time for me to walk away, and I could be happy with what I've done leading up to this point from where I come from, how I started, all that stuff. But if you ask me right now today, no, because I know I still have that dog in me. I still have the speed. I still got the power. I still got endurance to be able to push myself through. So I just feel like I'm not currently happy right now, but I will be by the end of this year. Very happy. I got some records to break, some faces to break, some belts to collect, and you know, uh, it's the dog in me that keeps me wanting to do more. I see these guys, I'm like, I know I could beat these guys, man. I know I could beat so and so. I already got in there with them. I felt them. I know I could beat them. It just needs to be my night. And until I don't get a couple things notched off in my notebook that I keep, I won't close this chapter in my life yet.
Is that a real notebook you have? Oh, okay.
I'd have the good question. I'd have the real notebook, but then it could get stolen. But just like throughout my career, I've always had like things that I want to get done. when I came back in 2019, I had a firm list of things that I wanted to get done, and I got a lot of them done. A lot of things got accomplished. Same thing for 2023. I have a lot of goals in mind, and I'm just a goal-oriented person at the end of the day, and I want to get these done by all means necessary.
2 more quick ones. I'm gonna go TMZ on you on one, and then I'll finish. I want to ask you about your son. The TMZ one is, if I only heard it once, I probably wouldn't ask you, but I heard it quite a few times this weekend. And that's that. Remember the stuff you said? Allegedly, you got to get through it all or whatever.
Yes,
It's
yes,
not done yet. The allegedly stuff.
No, the allegedly
Fake house
stuff, I can't really say too much about it, because I have like a whole fucking team of lawyers and shit, and they'll kill me if I talk too much about it. But what I can tell you is that there was some coward claiming brain injury, but this coward was trying to compete not too long ago and shit like that.
Well, that was the thing. Was there was talk that maybe he gets a pass. It's not like he doesn't have a nice resume. All right, I'll be honest, he does. But that he gets a pass in return for this thing just getting squashed, whatever happened allegedly in Miami.
Allegedly, I don't know nothing about that.
Okay. Super Macho Man, you want this for him in the future, or would you rather he, hit the books or do something else? He's got to be a big kid by now, right?
In stature, he's not too big. He's
well, what I mean is, I think we met him as a little kid, so he's probably a teenager now, maybe, or I don't know.
No, he's 8 years old.
He's 8, okay.
Yeah, he's 8 years old, and he is
nice fella. I like him.
He's like my heart, He keeps me beating, keeps me going strong. Actually, him and his sister, my daughter Ava, are big factors in how I also broke out of that funk that I was in. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with me? If my career ended right now, I got these 2 little guys. I don't need my little girl, my little guy. I don't need nothing else in life. I could provide for them. I could send them to good schools. I could keep them fed. When they turn 16, I could get them a car. Like, what am I tripping about? And it was just a constant thing of being around them to get out of that funk. But do I want my son to fight? Absolutely not, brother. But it's just like it might skip a generation a lot of times, and sometimes it doesn't. He has, as much as I hate to say it, and the fear that it brings me, he has that it factor for fighting, man. Like you see him throwing hands, you would think he's been training his whole life. And it's just like a genetic thing for him, and he actually likes to scrap, man. I got him in wrestling, so, he can learn how to defend himself, but I don't like him throwing blows, so he loves to do it. It's been like 2 Christmases in a row that he's been asking me for punching bags, so I finally got him. And, like, he'll come home from school, be like, I'll talk to him for hey, what's up, how was school? He's like, I don't want to talk about it. And he'll literally grab it's one of these, like, ones that has, like, a water basin and the stick that moves like that and the ball right here, so you hit it and it moves. He'll literally take that thing into his room and beat the living crap out of it for like 25 minutes. He just won't want to talk to me or nobody right now. He's just doing his thing. I know he probably didn't have the best day for whatever reason, and he reminds me so much of me. So I don't want him to fight, but also fighting is like, if you're meant to be a fighter, if you're gonna fight, not no government, no person, no freaking religious set. Nobody can tell you you can't fight. When you want to fight, you're gonna find a fucking way to fight. And if he showed me that perseverance at that, I'm gonna get up at 6 a.m, go get these miles and how you used to, and then I'm gonna come home, I'm gonna go to school, and then when I come back from after school, I'm gonna go train again, and then I'm 1,000,000% behind my guy and whatever he wants to do. But no, as a father, I would dread the walk of him to the cage. It'd be like, and then anyways, he's like my little best friend, so it's like, man, I did this all for you, so you could go to school, so you could do other things in life and not have to do this, so I wouldn't want it for him. But then again, if he showed me this is all I want to do, then I got his back 1,000,000%.
Because I really love the relationship that you and your dad have. You guys been through a lot, and he seems pretty chill, to tell you the truth. But there's some of that nasty dog from a little bit from dad, a little bit from mom, some Cubano, some Peruano. We got ourselves game bred, and but you're right. But I just remember how much you like talking about him and all that, and I figured he was older now since we haven't caught up in a while. And
no, that's my little dude. I'll have him tomorrow. Actually, I get him tomorrow. I got 50-50 custody. with him. So I'll have him tomorrow for about like 4 or 5 days, and we got some activities planned because I've been grinding a lot. So this weekend now I get to taper off a little bit. So I got some good activities for me and my son that we're gonna get into, and I keep him training, man, because at the end of the day he's a man. So as much as I love him, he's doing something all the time. I'll take him to the gym and he'll just work out. I'll have him moving weights and doing sprints and jumping off hurdles and this and that. And man, he loves to get after it, man. So I'm blessed, man, with my kids and my family. And like I said earlier, that's really what helped me come out of this funk, man, because this funk was bad and it was spiraling out of control. And snap, bro. I was in a really dark place for like a minute, That's why nobody was hearing from me. I wasn't trying to fight. I wasn't trying to do anything. I wasn't trying to do nothing like that until I knew that I was ready to come back. And it's not like I decided I was ready to come back when I took the Gil fight. I was long before even thinking about any fight. I had to make sure my mind, my body, and soul was right. And then I took the fight, and big mistake for Gilbert because I was already in shape when I took this fight. And I just had like another 12 weeks to just prepare for this individual while already being in shape. So I feel like I'm going to have one of my best performances in my fucking life.
Yeah, and you're going to make Alex Pereira a lot of money.
Oh, yeah. These guys are going to love me now after they get on the card with me. They're going to see what drawing power means,
I can't wait. Thank you so much for the time. I know you had a long day.
I love you, motherfuckers. Don't ever thank me, bro. Love you, motherfuckers, bro.
All right, my man. We
Likewise,
love you too. And we love watching you fight.
April 1st is not an April Fool's joke. Roy Jones Jr. versus Pettis.
Roy Jones Jr. versus Anthony Pettis. Jose Aldo versus Jeremy Stevens. Jacare versus Vitor Belfort. It's nuts. You got to check it out, folks. Available on UFC Fight Pass as well. And if you're in the Wisconsin area, go and get your tickets. They are available. It's a sick card. Thanks, Jorge. Take care.
We'll knock Gilbert out. And then I'm getting this title, and then I'm going to the studio because I've brought you guys a lot of things. We've had a lot of conversations, but I haven't brought that belt to you guys. So I'm gonna make sure we're celebrating soon with this belt and some fucking Peruvian food. Goes as cheap as gonna go buy the lomo saltado for us. We're gonna fucking feast.
Can't wait. All right, man. Take care.